Wallace finds top shelf back corner. Carlow is going to take the 4-1.
And welcome to the season preview for the Celtics softball campaign here on the Carlow Sports Network. I am Sean Meyers, joined by the head coach of the Celtics, year number 2, Glenn Zinsmeister. Coach, thank you for doing the time to do this.
My pleasure.
And we talked about last year being your first year. It was a pretty good year, 20 wins for the Celtics. You also made the River States Conference Tournament. How did you evaluate the team's performance?
I think we had a solid performance last year. We probably didn't perform offensively to the level that we would have liked to. We expected everybody to maybe step up a little bit, and they kind of stayed the same. And I think at the end of the day, we had some great pitching performances all year long, especially in our last game against St. Mary of the Woods. Alyssa Fairman pitched very, very well. St. Mary of the Woods just made some unbelievable defensive plays that stole some offensive hits away. And at the end of the day, they scored a couple more runs than we did. But all in all, I think it was a really successful season.
Well, you mentioned the hitting maybe being not up to par at times. Did you pinpoint anything in particular that was an issue?
Not anything particular. It's just I think we faced some good pitching, and we made some changes coming into this year. We focused even a little bit more on tee work and things like that, as opposed to just hitting off of the machine all the time. So kind of went back to basics this year, and we thought that might be a good thing going into next year.
You certainly had been with the program prior to taking over as the head coach. You were an assistant, but a lot changes when you become the head man. What did you learn about yourself and your coaching techniques?
I learned that occasionally I'm usually a pretty laid-back, easygoing guy, and that worked very well as an assistant. There are times as the head coach that you have to be a little bit more direct and accountability-focused, and if not, sometimes things can get out of control. Nothing in particular, but just sometimes things can, some people can get away with things a little bit and it doesn't sit real well. They appreciate, I think, having that direct accountability and direction that they have to stay within a certain area.
Your team loses one of the best players in the entire conference from last year, in Abby Stroud. She was terrific as a pitcher. I would say she was almost as good, if not better, as a hitter. Just a dynamic player. She moved on to graduation. Where is the biggest void left from last year's team?
Well, our advantage is she is with us helping us coach, which is a big plus for our pitchers. I think probably the biggest void will be from a pitching perspective. She was a workhorse. She was a person that even when she didn't have her best stuff, she would go out and she would compete. And that level of competition would keep her at the bar or above the bar. We have 5 solid pitchers on the team this year. 2 of them are young. Then we have a sophomore returning from her freshman year. And we have 2 juniors that really have pitched well in spots over their career. Anna Osiecki was our number 2 pitcher last year. She had some injury issues in the offseason, but we're hoping for her to come back. And Alyssa Fairman struggled pitching a little bit early last year, but towards the end of the season pitched really well. Pitched really well in our USCAA game against St. Mary of the Woods, and then continued that same mojo in the fall. So we're looking for big things out of them, and obviously, it's a big set of shoes to fill moving forward, but I think we have the players in place to do that.
Well, you highlighted a lot of the pitchers who return, who are going to be key contributors. Looking at the lineup, who is notable, who is back? Well,
we have 7 returning starters, if you will. We still have Ashley Hoak, our senior, from third base. We have Casey Wolford, who was our starting shortstop. Anna Osiecki, who pitched and as well played first base. Olivia Graff is returning behind the plate catching. Also, we get Abby Tattenhorst back, who took a redshirt year last year due to an injury. We're excited to have her back. She was a 460-plus hitter as a sophomore, and we're hoping that at least if she can bring at least 350 of that 460 back, we'd be really excited. Adriana Gottheld in the outfield is returning. Sierra Murray in the outfield is returning. They're probably some of the main highlights.
I know you also have some pretty promising newcomers to this program. Talk about the freshmen who come in that might be able to make an impact immediately.
We have 7 freshmen. Top to bottom, we have Morgan Nedley, a shortstop from Penn Trafford, played on their state championship team last year, played high-level travel ball. Madison and McKenna Lampy, the twins from Greene County, which from a Greene County perspective, they were all sports, all everything. We're really excited to have them here. Alex Bupp, first base outfielder from Ambridge. Hannah Gallagher from Montour. And Cabry Benton from, I believe she's Connellsville or Uniontown. I always forget, but she's a catcher. I think they're all going to contribute in some way this year. I mean, all 7 of them had an excellent fall. If you look at just their batting average alone in the fall, they batted north of 500. So we're excited about what we saw. We'll see if that continues to translate into the season as we start their first full freshman year.
So many freshmen, just one senior on this team, and you mentioned it's Ashley Hoak. What do you expect in terms of the leadership for this squad?
I think Ashley's leadership will be really important, but she has the respect of the returning players as well. Most specifically, there's 9 juniors on the team, and I think she has the respect of them. So with her leadership coupled with the budding leaders of the junior class, the other 2 captains, Anna Osiecki and Lexi Young, will assist Ashley with that leadership thing, and they'll work very closely with the rest of the juniors. I think one of the things we're really happy of this point so far is as a group, I think we've gelled. I mean, they're close. They're like any other family. They have their ups and downs and occasional their little intricacies with everybody. But to this point, it's been very positive.
I know you spoke already about the skills development in terms of hitting during the off season. What do you look for? What have you seen with the physical development of some of these players?
So we spent a lot this off season. We basically worked out 4 days a week. We did basically what I would call body movement type workout. We didn't add a whole lot of weight. It was really about working on speed and agility and foot speed and quickness. We've also spent some time, we've added some yoga to our routine, which is something that...
Are you a big yoga guy?
I personally am not. But Captain Ashley Hoak actually leads them in yoga, and they do an hour session. I was taken back actually Ashley asked me about doing it, and I was all for trying it, and I was kind of interested to see how the team would uptake it, and I was pleasantly surprised about how engaged they were and how important that they thought that it was. So between our 4 workouts a night, our pitchers have thrown. We've worked really hard on the mechanics of hitting. We've been able to start bringing some live pitching in, obviously in an indoor environment, what's a little bit different. We get our Thursday nights out at Green Tree now, which is once again indoor on a turf field. But we're excited Saturday evening to get on the dirt in Orlando, Florida, and see what type of fruits will bear.
And you can always just drop a namaste if the team's getting
that
too
is correct.
stressed.
That is correct.
You talked about Florida. It's going to be about a week-plus trip. What's the approach to that trip?
We're going to play 13 games down there. All 13 games count to both our NAIA schedule as well as our USCAA standings. So games are important, but at the same time, we always break the season up into several seasons. You have the fall, you have the off season, you have spring training, the regular season, and then followed by the playoff tournament, and then either the NAIA regionals or the USCAA, depending on where we end up. So we're very happy with our fall season, and we thought it was successful. Very happy, I think, to this point with what we've seen in the off season, although a full evaluation of that will happen when we hit Florida. Florida's going to be our opportunity to take what we saw in the fall and to see if we see the same thing, and then we'll be able to make some decisions. We're going to play our first 4 games with the same attitude we had in the fall. We're going to try to give everybody ample and equal opportunity to have some repetitions so that we can take that and combine it with our evaluation from the fall and then really kind of make our initial starting 10 to 12 players that are going to be our core folks to move forward. We always tell the players it's very difficult with a roster of 20. That's a lot for a softball team. We always end up using them based on number of games, fatigue over the long season, as well as potential injuries that can always pop up. When we tell the players hitting will get you on the field, defense keeps you there. So really we're looking for people to take the best advantage of their opportunity. After those first 4 games, our last 9 games in Florida, we're going to play them very much like a regular season game. And we're going to go out with our group of starting players. We'll make adjustments as adjustments need to be made, but we're going to go out and we're going to kind of focus in that direction.
What are the team goals for this season? What's the outlook for the River States Conference?
So I think, the team goals are to win more than we did last year. So we've talked a lot as a group, with 20 wins last year. I really feel that 5 or 6 additional wins, 25 or 26 wins out of 43 games, I think will put us in a really good position for both our conference, is for a potential to get to an NAIA regional, as well as our standing in the USCAA. I think the team agrees with that. I think ultimately, ultimately every team wants to win. Ultimately, it's about our experience, though, and the positiveness of that experience. So there's a lot that we can that we can learn, even in the face of defeat. And as long as we continue to learn and continue to improve, that's the most important thing. But obviously, wins and losses are what you're rated by, and we definitely would like to win more games than last year. As far as the River States Conference goes, we came out of the preseason ranking at 6th. That happens a lot. I mean, we've been watching the River States Conference closely. A lot of teams have played games to this point.
Right.
Rio Grande has always been kind of the top of our conference. They make the regionals a lot. They're currently, I believe they're 3-6 or 3-8. I don't remember. Point Park was in Florida about a week ago. They only came out of Florida with 3 wins. So, they were the 2 top expected teams in the conference. I'd like to think that at Carlow we have, we have a great core returning group of people, and we have 7 young freshmen that have yet to be tested, that maybe we're a little bit better than that 6 rating. And, maybe we can find our way somewhere up a little closer to the top.
Certainly that would be good to see for this program. Lastly, what's your favorite aspect of coaching at Carlow?
I think for me, it's the opportunity to work with the players. I have 4 kids of my own. I have 2 sons and 2 daughters that aren't a whole lot older than these players are. They've all made their way through school and graduated. But it's an opportunity for me still to continue to be a mentor and a coach to these folks, not only in softball, and many of them in their careers. We have, I believe, 13 nursing majors on our roster, and that's my career. So I get an opportunity to mentor them from a career perspective, as a coach for softball and just as a friend in life.
Coach, thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate the time. Good luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's head coach Glenn Zinsmeister here on the season preview for Celtics softball. We continue on the season preview for Celtics softball. Sean Meyers joined by third baseman and the lone senior on the Carlow team, Ashley Hoak. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for having me.
So the regular season is just about to begin for the Celtics. What's your anticipation level to start your senior campaign?
My anticipation for the year is definitely a very positive year for the season. I feel like we have a really good team, really good energy, and all of us get along really well. So I just feel it's going to be a great season to get to know each other and really just conquer the division.
When you focus on something in particular in the off season to improve your game, what were those areas of focus?
I would say me personally, or
Yes.
the team. I would say me personally. I know that last year I definitely struggled with backhand and forehand and range at third base. So I definitely worked more on that with tennis balls and just different activities to advance myself in that area. And definitely just with batting, I just really focus on the reps, conditioning, just because the more you condition, the more you're more flexible to get through it. And Glenn mentioned yoga. I'm very, very into yoga, so I've just been consistently doing hot yoga, workouts, all of our things together, just really preparing for the season, preparing for the year.
Well, I'll build on that. What's your favorite yoga pose and what's your least favorite?
My favorite yoga pose. Wow.
I'm a fan of Happy Baby.
You know what?
Do you know that one?
I love Happy Baby.
Okay.
I'm really a fan of, I think it's crazy a little bit, but Downward Dog.
Okay. Is there
Only
one that you
because-
really struggle with though?
Downward Dog.
Oh, okay.
Because my shoulders are so tight and tense that that's one of my favorites because I have to calm my mind and it's like a challenge.
So it's your favorite and your least favorite all at the
I
same
answered
time.
it all together.
Perfect. You mentioned you play third base. That has to be a difficult position. It's called the hot corner for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So what are keys for you to have success there?
I think that range is like one of the most key things to have success there. I think that it's really important to be flexible and kind of read the batters as well, just because in college everyone's so quick. It's just basically inevitable that they're going to bunt and you need to get their throw quick. Just having the flexibility to get the forehand, backhands, communication with the shortstop, with pitcher, with the outfield, just have it all to succeed.
You're the only senior in terms of softball eligibility on this roster. So do you feel as though you have to have that responsibility of being a team leader?
I definitely feel the responsibility to being a team leader. I think that for some reason it just feels very natural this year just because, I don't know, I feel that I'm very comfortable with my teammates and I feel very close with the juniors and there's eight or nine of them. And I just feel like I kind of don't take like the utilitarianism like approach to being the captain, keep being a leader. I just really just like to involve everyone in decisions and kind of think about what's best for the team and like lead everyone in like a positive energy vibe like type deal.
You go back to when you were an underclassman, I'm sure you looked up to the seniors or even the juniors at that point. What did you learn from that experience that you're now able to apply working with the younger players?
I think the biggest thing is just like understanding that everyone starts out a certain way and you have to accept them for where they are and meet them for where they are and kind of help them grow and develop into the player that will benefit the entire team. Just kind of like being accepting for who everybody is and just embracing everybody. I think I really learned that from past captains, just as being a freshman myself, just being nervous and I just like feeling embraced and I like embracing other people. So I think that really helps being a captain on the team.
This team lost some key contributors from a year ago, Abby Stroud, chief among them. So there's opportunities for players to step up.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you've seen, whether it be one player or multiple players, that you think are really poised for big seasons here in 2020?
I really do. I have so much confidence in my pitchers and honestly, all of the hitters on the team, I really, really, really have confidence in them. I think one of the few, I could name the whole team right now, but I guess if I had to name a few people, I would say Alyssa Fairman, of course. She's a great, great pitcher. She really has improved her mental game so much, along with her physical game. She's very dedicated. So I expect her to step up to the plate more. And definitely Morgan Pierce. She's actually a sophomore this year, and I really do expect great things. She's a little bit of like a mind game type player, but she has so much talent, and she's worked very, very hard to kind of bring what she needed to the play this or to the pitcher mound this season.
Both the players you mentioned were former WPIAL products, as were you at Elizabeth Ford. Did you know them or a lot of players before you came here at Carlow?
I knew Alyssa, so I played her, actually the game that I got interviewed, I believe, I want to say, at Elizabeth Ford. We were playing TJ, maybe. I'm not sure. But
Sounds good to me.
we played Alyssa all the time, and I remember just like really looking up to her because she was such a good pitcher. She was so focused, so like she was just always on the top of her game. Never cracking a face at the pitcher mound, and she always pitched so well. And I remember that was one of the hardest like pitchers that I struggled off hitting off her, and I play with her, and it's like having the other side of it and being like on the team with her. It's just amazing. I didn't know Morgan, but I'm glad to know her now.
What has been your favorite moment so far heading into your senior year that you've had as a college softball player?
Okay, we might get in trouble for this, I'm not sure. But, so at Nationals, a bunch of us jumped in the lake, and I just thought it was, like, really funny because, like, all of us were just, like just goofing off and just, like, I feel like just showing, like, your, like, goofy side to, like, your other teammates really just, like, embraces other people to, like, be themselves. So I think it was just, like, really fun.
No one got hypothermia or anything.
No one
remember?
got
Okay.
hypothermia, but
Then you're in
I
the
lost my
clear.
glasses, so that was a little bit stressful, but my friend found them, so it's okay.
You didn't have to play softball blind then?
I did not.
Okay, that's fine. Aside from, obviously, Carlow's Field and Point Park, which kind of similar, is there a particular home field for another team that you really enjoy playing at?
Rio.
What stands out about that field?
Their field is beautiful, honestly. It's everything you want in a field. It's just organized and nice. It's a complex. It's just very beautiful. It's like something you would want in a home field to succeed. Very focused.
Glenn Zinsmeister, you're number 2, guiding this program. What are his best qualities?
Best qualities as a coach. I think that definitely understanding. He's very, very empathetic as a coach, and I think that he just embraces all of us for who we are. And I think I truly need that as a player. I'm different, and I think a lot of all of the players are different. And just having Coach Glenn as a coach, it just really makes me able to be myself and makes me comfortable to play underneath him. And I know that regardless of what I went through or any time this year, or even the last 4 years, I could go to him with anything and he'd be there for me.
It seems as though, from an outsider's perspective, that softball's really fun. Obviously, it's more fun when you're winning, but it seems like the girls always have fun, and you mentioned some good stories. Is there any particular chants or celebrations that you and your teammates have?
Chance?
Yeah. During a game?
Oh, celebration. Oh, I understand. So before our game, we actually come together and we say, I think we're starting a prayer this year. So we're changing up our pregame routine a little.
Got you.
So before we're doing the stretches and everything together, and then we come together and we slap everyone's hands, and then we come together all as a group, and we do a little chant together. And now instead of putting our hands in, we put all of our thumbs in, and we all connect, and then it's like a bond, like a circle.
Got you.
And
the thumb touch.
The thumb touch. And so we go down and then up and break the bond, and then we go to play. And
if you get into a losing streak, do you maybe think about changing that, or that's not even going to come into play this season?
I don't think so, because I think a lot of it is mental, the mental game. So I think that we can manifest a winning streak if we're losing. So
I like the positive mindset. Final thing for you. I know you're a senior now, so go back a handful of years. What led to your decision to come to Carlow University?
So initially I was looking at a bunch of different D2 schools like IUP, Slippery Rock, and I recognized, UPJ too, I was really interested. I recognized that every single time I went to different college visits, they mentioned, if you want to go here, you actually can't do nursing. And that's something I'm truly so passionate about. I've always wanted to be a nurse, and I want to be a travel nurse, and I want to help people, and I wasn't going to go play softball if I wasn't going to be able to do my passion, as a career. So, Carlow University was the first school that I truly felt that I could. The first college visit, Coach Bob at the time, Coach Circo, he was like, yeah, you can do nursing and play softball. I literally was so caught off guard. I was because that's the first coach that's ever told me that. And I was like, all right, I'm coming here. Two passions combined. He was like, I'm so understanding about practice. I'm so understanding about schoolwork. And I was like, do you think I can do it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. 90% of our players are softball nursing majors. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm so glad. This place has just changed my life.
Great stuff. Certainly a passion for softball, for nursing, and most importantly, for yoga. That is Ashley Hoak, the senior for the Celtics, here on the Carlow season preview for Celtics softball.